She entered the briefing room with the quiet presence of someone new to the base. Her steps were soft, her uniform crisp, her hair secured in a simple knot. At first, no one paid attention. Conversations carried on, chairs shifted, papers rustled. Then a beam of morning light slipped through the window and caught the shine of the medals on her chest. Voices faltered. One by one, heads turned. The room gradually fell silent. Those decorations did not belong to beginners. It belonged to someone who had endured what others could not. Captain Raffi, leading the orientation, paused mid-sentence when he noticed her. She looked young, too young, almost serene, but the medals she wore told a different story. Her name tag read, Lieutenant Sarah Haleem. Sarah kept her eyes lowered and chose a seat in the back. Whispers traveled across the rows. Raffi cleared his throat and resumed speaking, though curiosity edged his tone. She acted as if she hadn't noticed the stares. She was used to them, respect mixed with unease, admiration tangled with questions. People often wondered how someone so young could carry so much and still stand steady. What they didn't see were the invisible marks, the ones no ceremony could recognize. The briefing continued upcoming missions, security measures, rotation plans, but attention kept drifting back to her. Finally, one officer murmured to another, "Who is she?" Raffi heard it. He closed his file. "Lieutenant Haleem, perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself." She drew in a quiet breath. She had hoped for at least one day without explaining. Her past peace was a rare gift. Slowly, she stood. "My name is Sarah Haleem," she said gently. "I've served 8 years. I'm here to join your unit. That's what matters." It was brief, but the silence that followed felt heavy with unasked questions. She sat down again, hands folded, aware of the thoughts hanging in the air. What did she survive? What did she lose? Raffi didn't press further, though he observed her carefully. In 25 years of service, he had seen countless decorated soldiers. Yet there was something distinct about her, a depth in her gaze shaped by storms most never witness. Training followed. On the field, she moved with effortless precision. Nothing about her suggested inexperience. During one drill, a younger officer named Hamd fumbled with his equipment, frustration clear in his voice. Before anyone else reacted, Sarah stepped forward. "Your straps are uneven," she said calmly. "They'll slow you down," he thanked her. As she adjusted them, it's when he noticed the faint burn scars on her fingers, old injuries that spoke quietly of fire and survival. "Lieutenant," he asked carefully, "those medals, what happened?" She paused, shoulders tightening. "Slightly. Everyone here has survived something," she replied. "Mine just made more noise." That evening in the mess hall, laughter filled the space, but Sarah sat alone with her tea. She wasn't avoiding anyone. She simply existed somewhere between who she had been and who she hoped to become. Raffi joined her. "You performed well today," he said. "Thank you, sir." After a moment, he added, "I don't need details for curiosity, but I need to understand how to position you properly for your safety in the units." Her gaze dropped to her medals. They seemed heavier at times like this. 3 years ago, I was deployed to a northern conflict zone, she began quietly. Our unit was ambushed. I lost 9 teammates in one night. I was the only one who made it out. Raffi remained still. I stayed with them until backup arrived. I was injured. I tried to carry 2 of them to safety. They didn't make it. Her voice faltered. The medals came later. The nightmares came first. Silence honored her words. "You don't have to carry it alone," Raffi said gently. "I'm not trying to be a hero," she replied. "Just want to serve again? I want to matter." "You already do." In the weeks that followed, the unit came to know her not through stories but through actions. She coached struggling runners without impatience. She stood beside anxious recruits. During night drills, she repaired faulty equipment and stayed late to help others improve. Gradually, people sought her out, not because of the medals, but because of her steady presence. One day, Hamid asked, "How do you stay calm when things fall apart?" She offered a faint smile. "After you've seen the worst a night can bring, everything else feels survivable." The unit began to change. Confidence replaced doubt. Strength grew where hesitation once lived. And at the heart of it all stood the woman who had once tried to remain unnoticed. Then, during a large-scale training simulation, a sudden explosion shook the area near a shed. Smoke spread quickly. Confusion followed. Without waiting for orders, Sarah ran toward it. Inside, 2 recruits coughed in the haze, disoriented. "Follow my voice," she called steadily. "Don't stop. I'm here." She guided them out, shielding them from falling debris. When she emerged, her uniform was coated in soot, her voice strained, but she stood upright. "She saved us again," Hamed whispered. Rafi approached her. "You weren't assigned to go in alone?" "I wasn't going to leave them," she answered. He nodded quietly. "That's why you survived before, why others survive now." She hesitated. "I don't want to be seen as damaged." "You're not damaged," he said firmly. "You're rebuilt. That's stronger." The applause that followed wasn't formal, it was heartfelt. For the first time in years, Sarah didn't retreat. From the attention, she allowed herself to feel that she belonged. Days later, she entered another briefing, just as she had on her first day, calm, composed. When the medals caught the light this time, no one stared in confusion. They looked with respect. When Rafi introduced her as the new deputy training leader, she stood tall, voice steady, heart lighter than before. In the end, it wasn't the medals that defined her. It was her decision to keep moving forward despite everything they symbolized. And that became her message to every new recruit. You survived what tried to break you. Let it strengthen you instead. You're here because you still have something to give. Her words lingered long after she finished, because those who walk through fire do not return unchanged. They return illuminated like Sarah Haleem, who entered the room looking like a newcomer, but carried the quiet brilliance of someone who refused to stop rising.